What's up, guys? And so I just got out watching the Nun 2, and with this being the new installment in the Conjuring Universe, we follow Valak, the demon nun, who was rising with his sister Irene, and that as to defeat her once again. And even with this film and my thoughts on it, I thought this was really good. I thought this was a solid sequel. It was definitely more terrifying than the first, and this will be by a spoiler-free review of the film. And now, just for going into the film, and as we look at the entire Conjuring universe as a whole, especially from the first Conjuring movie, and even with all those the first two films being directed by James Wan, and even with all the rest of the films without James Wan in the director's chair, it kind of like lost that touch. But even with Annabelle and Valak that were introduced, that got on spin-offs, and even with those first two films, especially with the Nun, which I found to be awful. I mean, I was not a fan of the first one, but even going into the Nun 2, I thought this was a slight improvement from the first one, and it really used Valak more, and she definitely got her chance to shine. With all premise of this film, it is with his sister Irene that's like sent to a church in France after a priest was murdered, and she has to like investigate, and even with a Valak that is returned, and even with her like trying to defeat the demon nun again. And now it's especially with the demon nun Valak when she was introduced in the Conjuring 2, like she was the most creepiest horror characters ever. I mean, everyone, especially was terrified of her from the Conjuring 2, including me. And even in the first Nun movie, I was not a fan of it, especially as Valak was sort of wasted in that film. But even with the Nun 2, I felt like Valak really got moments to shine, especially with the jump scares, and even with those intense scenes, and even as everything goes silent, and even with those jump scares that appear right in your face. And so with that being said, with going into this movie, I found this movie like to be good. I thought it was a good sequel. Even with the characters in the film, especially for Tessa Farmiga as sister Irene, I really liked that she returned for the second film. I thought she did good in the first movie, but I felt like those characters were not energetic to their roles. But I feel like she did a good job in the first one, and that she returned for the second one as well. And especially with Storm Reed in the film, I feel like she gave a great performance as well, and like especially for the little girl Sophie, I really enjoyed her role in this film. I thought with the Sophie character that was in this film, I really liked that they brought back more Reese from the first one, and I really liked that Sophie and Maurice's chemistry as kind of like a father figure, and I thought that they had really nice chemistry on screen. Especially for all the scariness and the jump scares, I really like that it was more terrifying than the first movie, because in the first one, it was not that scary, it was not that terrifying, but even with the second film, it was like such more scary, and even so with Valak the demon nun, she really got her chance to shine in the sequel, and it definitely used her more, and even the like parts of the movie they really used the value of the jump scares a lot more, especially even with this film having James Wan in the director chair. But I feel like with this film, I thought this was a nice step up from the first film, and it really used Valak really well. And even with the jump scares that were used in this film, I thought that they were really good, and it really got me. And even with the ones that were kind of predictable, but they were enjoyable as well. And plus, I really enjoyed my time with this film, especially with Valak and her demonic presence on screen. I really liked how to use her more, and even with Irene, that's to find this weapon or the sort of relic defeat Valak the demon nun, and I just really enjoyed all the scariness at this movie brought, and it was a very enjoyable time. Even people that like didn't like the first one, and even going into the second one, it was more terrifying, and this was a very enjoyable time. And even with a Valak in this film, like I really enjoyed her presence a lot more in the first one, because like even with her, I kind of hope for scariness like that was used in the Conjuring 2. I mean, I was scared of that character, and she was a lot more terrifying. But even as she was wasted in the first movie, but even in the second film, that they really dive deep more into her, and like even so, like I just really enjoyed what they did. I thought it was really well done, and especially with like more like horror and scariness that was used like throughout the film, and even from start to finish, it really goes off well. And even with my overall thoughts and the film in general, I thought that this was a good sequel. I definitely enjoyed it. It was a great improvement from the first one. I mean, it's what the first movie should have been. And even though that like there are great performances, and even a lot more scariness and jump scares, and even there's some like favorite ones like in the film, and plus there is definitely a mid-credit scene that I should definitely stay for, that sets up for what's coming, especially in the Conjuring universe as well. So lots of things are being set up, and so I just really enjoyed it, and this was a great horror and a good entry. And yeah, so with my final thoughts on the Nun 2, I thought this was a good sequel. It was definitely an improvement and more terrifying than the first one. We got great performances, a lot more jump scares, and even with building up those tense and sinister and suspenseful moments with those jump scares that like right in your face. And as well, I really enjoyed everything about it. I really enjoyed Valak and a horror presence and the way that it was used like throughout the film, and even like I thought the third act was good as well, and, so like I mean like I thought it was going to be more of the same, but it was definitely different and a slight improvement from the first. I just really enjoyed it, and I hope everyone else does as well. And so that is going to be it for this video. Let me know what you guys thoughts in the comments down below, and what your thoughts on the Nun 2 if you see the movie, and give me a rating to 1 out of 10. You can give this video a like and subscribe and turn on the notification bell for future videos, and you also follow my social, which are linked down below. And with that, I'll see y'all in the next video. Peace.